Welcome back to the YouTube channel, everybody. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, check out my first two videos and leave some comments on there. I'd very much appreciate it. But today I want to get straight into it. Really excited about this topic because, as you know, the NBA offseason has been crazy so far. We saw Anthony Davis become a Laker, Kyrie and KD go to the Nets, Kawhi and Paul George team up on the Clippers, and Russell Westbrook get traded to the Rockets. It's been an insane offseason, but I want to predict the future the best I can and tell you guys the next 5 trades that are going to impact the whole landscape of the NBA. So the first trade I want to predict for y'all today has to do with the last trade we talked about, Russell Westbrook being traded to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Chris Paul and multiple draft picks. The Oklahoma City Thunder have now lost Russell Westbrook and Paul George in the same offseason, and they're entering a full rebuild mode. Chris Paul is an aging point guard on a massive contract, and I know the Thunder don't want to keep him long term. So they will trade him. It's just a matter of finding the right trade partner, and they're having trouble doing so at the moment. Not many teams want a contract that huge for a point guard who's clearly in the decline. I could see the Miami Heat, though, pulling the trigger to pair Chris Paul with Jimmy Butler. The package for that would include actually 2 draft picks of the Miami Heats that the Oklahoma City Thunder currently own rights to via previous trades. So I can ultimately see Chris Paul headed to the Heat along with Patrick Patterson and the Miami Heat's 2021 and 2023 first-round draft picks in exchange for Goran Dragic, Dion Waiters, and Kelly Olynyk. Bank on it. Much like the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Cleveland Cavaliers are in full rebuild mode post LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. They still have Kevin Love on the roster, but he's signed to a max contract and doesn't really fit in with the younger players. They should look to move off of him and send him to the Portland Trail Blazers, where he would fit perfectly with Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, and Hassan Whiteside, giving you a stretch 4, a potential third star, and someone who can grab you some rebounds in a tough West. The Portland Trail Blazers can send back young center Joseph Nurkic, who's injured at the moment but has a lot of talent and is signed to a pretty good contract. They could also trade the expiring contract of Kent Bazemore, who would give the Cleveland Cavaliers more flexibility in terms of cap space moving forward. I think this is a great trade for both sides, as the Blazers can move themselves into contention in a deep Western Conference, while the Cavs really gain more sense of where they're going in this rebuild. One of the most surprising moves of the offseason so far was when D'Angelo Russell was traded to the Golden State Warriors in exchange for Kevin Durant via sign and trade. The thing about Russell is he's a young up-and-coming superstar who now joins the Warriors on a max contract. Some suggest he's just a short-term rental, could be traded soon, but the thing about it is not many teams are really going to be able to give up a lot of assets that can make the contracts match. So I think we can look for Draymond Green to be the next big trade piece, as he's looking for a max contract that the Warriors simply don't have room for. I think the Atlanta Hawks would be the perfect destination for him. They play a lot like the Warriors with point guard Trae Young. They're an up-and-coming young team who could use some veteran leadership. Look for December 15th to be the target date where free agents who just signed this offseason can be traded. So look for the Atlanta Hawks to trade recently signed Jabari Parker and center Alex Len, along with 2 first-round draft picks in exchange for Draymond Green. This would give the Warriors some front court depth and a couple of draft picks to use moving forward, while the Hawks receive a former Defensive Player of the Year and a veteran anchor that could lead them to the playoffs. Someone who's been no stranger to trade rumors over the last year is Wizards shooting guard Bradley Beal, an all-star caliber player who's currently playing for a team in the Wizards who's not in playoff contention. Look for Beal to be traded to a team looking for a complementary star, and the New Orleans Pelicans really fit the bill as they're looking for someone to pair alongside Zion Williamson. We don't know if Brandon Ingram or Lonzo Ball is going to grow into that guy, so I think the perfect trade, one that was already discussed back when Brandon Ingram was a Laker, a potential Beal for Ingram swap. Look for the Pelicans to trade Drew Holiday, Brandon Ingram, and one of the many draft picks they received in the Anthony Davis trade for Bradley Beal and Davis Bertans this offseason. The Wizards would be getting Brandon Ingram, who could be a future superstar, and Drew Holiday, who's a quality point guard right now that makes the contracts work in the trade, while the Pelicans receive Bradley Beal, who's a perfect backcourt fit with Lonzo Ball and can also be a complementary scorer alongside with Zion Williamson. I think this trade works great for both sides and would turn the Pelicans into a playoff team in the West. And finally, I think the biggest name that could be potentially traded this season, someone who drops 70 points in a game, one of the brightest young superstars in the league, Suns shooting guard Devin Booker. He hasn't even made an all-star team just because it's so hard to gain recognition in Phoenix. He's been promising Suns fans a playoff appearance ever since he's been drafted there, but the Suns front office hasn't been able to deliver any help. I think Booker's going to become really frustrated if he isn't already and request a trade, potentially to the Minnesota Timberwolves, where his good buddy Karl Anthony Towns currently plays. They were from the same draft class, they hang out regularly, and I think they would be really a good fit of two young superstars that could play together. I look for Devin Booker to be traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves in exchange for Andrew Wiggins, Jeff Teague, and a first-round pick, while the Suns send back Booker and Tyler Johnson. The contracts would work perfectly as Booker and Wiggins make about the same. Tyler Johnson and Jeff Teague make about the same. You can have the Timberwolves send a draft pick back to Phoenix as they gain decent compensation for Devin Booker and a draft pick to move forward with. This would turn the Timberwolves hopefully into a playoff team in the West, which is just so deep at the moment, but it would certainly give them one of the best young cores in the league, and it would allow the Suns to really reset on a full rebuild. Well, there you have it, guys. We know the NBA is a league of so much player movement, but look for these to be the 5 next big trades to actually go down. I'm sorry I didn't issue a spoiler warning in advance, but hopefully a couple months from now we can look back on this video and see that some of these actually did happen, because I think they'd be great for the league. So, down below I want you guys to comment who your favorite NBA player is. Ladies, you're not allowed to answer Kelly Oubre just because you think he's cute, but I want you to comment that down below. And most of my questions are going to be sports related, but I do want to leave you guys with this little riddle I heard. I thought it was kind of crazy, so check this out. Let's see. One night, a king and a queen went catfishing. The king caught 5 fish. The queen caught 4 fish. There were 10 fish caught that night. Who caught the last fish? Comment down below with your answer to that and your favorite NBA player. Don't forget to like this video, comment on those, check out my previous videos, and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.